This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. This is the audio download of the visual radio show that we streamed live on Tuesday, the 18th of April 2017. This is Monday Motorsport. My name is Lester. Hello and welcome. Well, I was at Oulton Park all day on Monday, on Easter Monday, with my colleague Dan Marr, checking out the British GT Championship. And this show is somewhat of a British GT and Formula 3 Championship special, because it's ram-packed full of British GT and F3 stuff. On the show this week, we have got for you, we've got, loads of interviews, including a massive, big review of the British GT Championship with Dan Marr and Nick Smith from the Image team. Yes, big half-hour long interview, and they basically wander about the entire paddock, and Nick delves deep into his knowledge bank, and yeah, it's quite a good listen, so you should listen out for that. It's even better to watch it as well, by the way. Check it out on Facebook, on our website as well. And yeah, you can basically see what happens, but if you want to listen to it, it's good as well. Particularly handy for people who are driving right now. Yes, you. Hello. So yes, coming up on tonight's programme, we've got Ben Hingeley from Formula 3, Toby Sowery, James Raven. James Raven, I hear you ask? He's not in Formula 3. But is he? He drops a bit of a bombshell, and he's coming up later. I guess you can work it out what it is. So yeah, Connor Jackson coming up later with Nick Smith from the Image team, plus loads of GT interviews as well coming up for you. Let's get started then in the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship, and it's our first interview with the not well-known over here German, fresh from karting. He was taking place in his first ever car racing race this weekend at Oulton Park in round one. Nick Vorm, pronounced Vorm, spelt worm, but it's not worm, it's Vorm.
Motorsport Radio, it's Lester here, and we are at the start of the British Formula 3 season at Oulton Park, and I'm stood with Nick Vorm. Hi.
Hello.
Nick, glad we've got the issue of your pronunciation of your name out of the way. I just want to clear up for everybody. I have always said that it was Nick Vorm and not Worm, as everybody said.
Yeah, it's correct. It's the German pronunciation of the name. There's a city called Worms in Germany, which is where the name comes from.
Glad we cleared that up, so you heard it here first. So Nick, so you're brand new to car racing, really. The media day a few weeks ago was the first chance that you had to test a car, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a few tests in Formula 4 before, like 2 tests with Mocker and RSC, but this is one of my first times in the F3 car. It's my 10th test day, and the progress is doing well. This is my first race weekend ever.
Do you have any expectations at all?
No, the expectations are just to get the car home safe and get as much of experience that I can.
So you came from Germany, obviously. You're sort of fresh out of karting. I suppose you had different options as to where to race in 2017. Why did you choose the British F3 season? You could have done something in Germany.
Yeah, the biggest reason why was that the racing time here is very, very well managed. And for example, in other series like Germany, there's a lot of crashes which happen, which of course reduce the time that you actually can gather experience and use for yourself to get to know the car, get to know racing and gather experience.
Okay, and what's the sort of long-term goal for you then? And maybe I'm asking a bit too early. Your first car race weekend, but you must have some sort of dreams where you want to end up.
Sure, I mean, my biggest goal today or this weekend is just to come home with confidence that I can build up for the next couple of races and maybe get in the front of the middle field with the end of the season and build up for next year.
And long term, next year, and maybe where do you see yourself in maybe, I don't know, 3 or 5 years' time?
Next year, definitely, we're doing another season of F3, and I'll try to use the confidence and the experience that I gather here to further on develop into the world of Formula cars or even touring cars, which is not yet determined.
How fun are these cars to actually drive? I'm sure there's a very steep learning curve for you in your first car weekend, but that aside, how much fun are you actually having so far?
I mean, the fun is incredible. It's, of course, a whole new level of having to drive vehicles with a lot of downforce like these cars have, and it's, of course, a much harder learning process that I have to go through for having to catch up with others which already have experience in Formula 4, or even with these cars with the amount of aerodynamics which they use while driving.
Yeah, presumably, like I said earlier, you had an option of which championships to go in. British Formula 3 seems like a big leap, really, to go from karting straight into one of the world's most renowned formulas, British F3, with such a massive, huge, long history and such a prestigious history as well. Could you have perhaps stayed an extra year in karting? Because some people I know who've maybe moved up too early have had their careers not progress in the way they wanted it to because they moved up too early. Could you have stayed in karting extra for another season, perhaps?
Initially, that was the plan, and we were just making a test with Hillspeed itself, just to see how I handle the car itself and how I react to a big change of downforce. But the surprise to the team and to myself was that I handled it quite well for the first test. They were very pleased, and so was I, which was then giving me, of course, the confidence to stay here and progress here earlier than instead of doing another year of karting, which would give me the advantage of learning what I have to do now than having to do it next year.
And for you, sporting heroes, who do you look up to, if anybody, in motorsport or in life in general?
I'd say Michael Schumacher is one of my, of course, biggest idols. So is Sebastian Vettel, which is, of course, one day the dream goal to reach where they have reached. But, of course, not everyone reaches, but we have to stay optimistic and say that I have the possibilities to make it.
So, Nick, Vorm, thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck in your first car racing weekend, round 1 at Oulton Park of the British Formula 3 Championship.
Thank you very much.
Nick Vaughan talking to me over the weekend, and yeah, he did certainly have I would say a solid, stable first weekend for him, considering his age, his lack of car experience. Let's not forget that was his first car race weekend, and interesting to see how the British BRDC British F3 Championship still drawing in lots of people from all over the world, including a Frenchman and a Brazilian and an Australian and there a German, who all of which had other options to look at, but they chose the British Championship because of its heritage, its history, its status in the world, and the fact that the cars are pretty fun to drive as well. We're currently doing a British F3 review of the weekend from Oulton Park. It was round 1, 2 and 3 at Oulton. I was there with my colleague Dan Marr and Connor Jackson, the checkered flag journalist, who will be joining us in a short while to review what happened in the race. Plus, later this week as well, we will have a full proper behind-the-scenes look from each of the races, where I literally delve into and poke a microphone in some of the drivers' faces, just perhaps, as they're getting ready. Plus, I find myself actually on the grid, on the start grid, seconds before one of the races, which is kind of unusual. Find out exactly why and how that develops. Anyway, so we'll continue by meeting people in the F3 paddock. Next up, it's Toby Sowery. I had a chat with him on the Saturday, just before qualifying.
It's Motorsport Radio, and we're here at the first event of 2017, and I'm with Toby Sowery. Hi, Toby.
Oh, you're right.
So, in F3 for the full season, and how are you feeling going into the first round as we're speaking right now?
Fairly positive. We just done our first practice on Friday, ended up P2, and we're really consistent. We ended most of the sessions yesterday in P2 as well. There's always a little bit to find, but generally speaking, quite good.
Tell us a bit more about who you are as well, where you came from, why you got into racing, how you started, and how you ended up here.
Just as a bit of fun. Started out just as a friend's party, and then got bitten by the bug then, and have pursued racing ever since. You know, the same route as Hamilton and 90% of the grid here. Started in karting, built up as a bit of fun, started to take it seriously, entered the national championships, progressed up into that, and then won a few championships back in my day. And then in 2014 it was, entered F3 Cup with Lanan, won that, then moved to MRF with my engineer who's back with me this year, won that as well, and the rest is history, really.
Indeed, and that's how you sort of ended up in British Formula 3. What is the ultimate goal for you? Are you just now starting to think about things professionally, or are you still thinking of it as a bit of fun? No,
definitely professional. At the end of 2014 it was a professional move. It's always the dream from karting, but you know, not many people actually get the chance to make it a reality. But I've been very lucky with the support that I've had from my family, the sponsors, all the teams we've been involved with, to make it as close to reality as possible, and so far it's going quite well.
Now, you said you spent a season in the F3 Cup as well in, what was it, 2014? Yeah. And not many people tend to make the progression from F3 Cup, unfortunately so, into British F3, and perhaps, who knows, even, you know, maybe further down the line. You've managed to do it so far, or you're on your way to doing it. How do you think that season in F3 Cup with those older F3 cars has sort of set you up for the current F3 Championship?
I think it's almost the best way to prepare for it. Obviously, we didn't jump directly from the 05 F3 we were into this. We had a season in F4 which I struggled with, the lack of downforce, power and so on. But, you know, it's been massively beneficial for me to do that championship and then step into this. Obviously, it's run by the same guys, run by the same team. So we created a relationship before we stepped into this championship and car. But no, characteristics, a little bit more power, a little bit less downforce and a better tyre. So it's not a million miles away, but it's done massive favour for me.
And what would you say your particular driving style is compared to other people's? How would you describe your own driving style, perhaps?
It's always a difficult one. You more often not have to drive to the car's ability, and different teams set it up differently, but I think with the car I've got, it's quite a direct setup, so I'm really positive with the car, and the car generally sticks with me. No understeer, no oversteer, quite a neutral balance, but a little bit more to an oversteer setup. But to be honest, I mean, as you've seen this weekend, the car's potential is really good, and we just got to extract the maximum out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did do. I was totally expecting that to end there. Yes, total pro. Thank you, Toby Sowery, speaking to me just before the qualifying on Saturday. There was due to be one of the F3 races at Oulton Park in the British Formula 3 Championship scheduled for the Saturday, just before the traditional Easter break on the Sunday. However, due to complications of red flags and lengthy delays and barrier repairs, race 1 had to be pushed back to Monday. So that meant that a couple of the support races didn't actually make it. Unfortunately, it didn't actually happen. But it did make a packed Monday, especially for people who were attending Oulton Park. So they actually had 2 British GT races as was scheduled and 3 British F3 races, which was a nice thing. Bit crazy for myself and Dan because we had 1 extra race to go and run around and film. But hey ho, I'm not complaining really. That's just a nice sort of life really. It's just one of those things. So you're watching and listening to Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester, and this is Monday Motorsport on a Tuesday. And still to come, we have a big GT Race 2 review with the Image Team's Nick Smith and Dan Marr from Motorsport Radio, and plus Connor Jackson from the Checkered Flag website, journalist on the Checkered Flag, will be here to review what happened precisely in the Formula 3 races. That's all coming up later. Plus, we continue to wish and extend our best wishes and hope for Billy Monger to get well soon, as soon as can be, in fact. So certainly, if you have any messages to share and pass on, plus if we have any breaking news, if we hear anything. Not that we have any special insider knowledge of anything, but we'll certainly tell you the latest if it breaks during tonight's show. On we go with more Formula 3 previews and reviews, and I had a chat with Ben Hingeley also on the Saturday and caught up with him and asked him various stuff about what it's like to be an F3 driver and where he come from and why he's still here.
It's Motorsport Radio, and I'm at the first round of the 2017 Championship in Formula 3 outside the Fortec Motorsport garage with Ben Hingeley. Hi, Ben.
Hi, how are you? You okay?
Fantastic to see you, and you've come a long way in such a short period of time in your career, really, having been Formula Jedi champion recently, and you was in Formula 3 last year as well. You're doing a full season in British Formula 3 again in 2017.
Yeah, full season in British F3 again this year after last year. So yeah, looking good so far. So.
Not many people, to be honest, go from doing a season of Formula Jedi, being champion in Jedi, to one of the biggest British, most world-renowned single-seater championships that there is in British Formula 3. So I suppose I'd have to sort of congratulate you for doing that. But how easy was the transition for you to get from Jedis and being a champion there to this?
Yeah, well, firstly, thank you. Yeah, it was very difficult. You know, the last year, it was a slow start. You know, and slowly built our way up. To be honest, it was a big learning curve. You know, it was there was ups and downs, and it was a bit like a roller coaster last year, to be honest. But finished the year really strong with a couple of podiums and pole position at Donington in the wet, which is really good. And then yeah, just carried on from there really, and confidence has grown, and I've moved to Fortec for this season, which, you know, me and the lads have gelled really quickly, and yeah, testing's gone very well over the winter, and yeah, looking for a good assault on this year's championship. So
what's your realistic sort of minimum goals, if you have any, for 2017, would you say?
I mean, my aim is to go in this year and win the championship. You know, that is the aim. You know, anything below that, you know, a top three, it is a very, very difficult championship. You know, there's a number of very strong drivers, so it's never going to be easy, you know, especially in this championship. So yeah, you know, top three I'd be happy with, but the ultimate goal is to win the championship.
Long-term career goal for you, where would you see yourself ending up?
It's difficult, you know, with motorsport these days. It's more about...
It's all about money.
Yeah, that's it. So, you know, I'm very fortunate that I've got such a good backer in Fakeham Homes, and they've supported me last year through this championship, and there's luckily for me supporting me again this year. And yeah, so, you know, hopefully if they continue to back me and I continue to perform, I don't know where we could end up. You know, obviously Formula One's the aim. Everyone wants that aim, but realistically, it's probably very, very far away. You know, I just want to enjoy motorsport. You know, anything I can race and enjoy and do well in, I'm happy with.
And just want to go back to mentioning about your Jedi career, really, in Formula Jedis. It's traditionally let's say, slimmed down grid numbers. They don't always have a packed grid there, but it's always fantastic racing, especially in anybody who's been privileged enough to actually see it up close racing. Tell us what it was like. How fun was it for you to be racing and winning in Jedis?
Yeah, Jedi, can't really fault it. It was a great championship. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. The cars, they were fast. In fact, they were probably a little bit quicker than these down the straight, because they haven't got Jedi haven't got the aero package that these have got, which again made the Jedi a bit funner to drive because you're moving around a bit more. It's a bit more sideways, and that makes for greater overtaking as well. You haven't got the aero slowing you down, so you can get a bit closer. And a really, really good car. A lot of mechanical grip and a lot of power as well. So yeah, it was a good series. I really enjoyed it.
Fantastic stuff, Ben. We will look forward to seeing just what you do this year in 2017 and what the future holds for you. Good luck in the first round at Oulton Park and for the rest of the season.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Hi, I'm Callan O'Keefe and this is Motorsport Radio.
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Hi there, I'm Seb Morris. Just want to wish Billy Monger really big get well soon. Massive crash, no fault of his own, and I really hope he makes a swift recovery and back on the grid later this year.
Yeah, certainly that sentiments are extended by everybody at Motorsport Media and Motorsport Radio. Seb Morris having a bit of a nightmare time at the weekend yesterday at Oulton Park in the first round of the British GT Championship, which was live online and on TV as well. And we switch our attentions for now over to the British GT Championship, and let's cross over to Oulton Park, if by magic, and let's go and see Dan Marr and photographer Nick Smith with their epic GT roundup.
So, round 2 of the 2017 British GT Championship just unfolded here at Oulton Park, and 3 words, Nick, go.
Oh my word.
Correct.
3. It was a normal British GT race for most of the race. Bit of damage here and there, but nothing too major. And then the race finished under caution. It finished on a bit of a cloud after 2 of the GT3 cars had a massive coming together over the back end of the circuit. A lot of damage, but other than that, it was a very good race. Won by the Lamborghini of Jon Minshaw. It was a good race.
Yes, it was the number 33, in fact. 2 wins from 2. What a fantastic result for Jon Minshaw and Phil Keane. That sets them off quite well for this championship challenge, I say.
Yeah, it does. I mean, Jon Minshaw, Phil Keane, they're an established partnership. They've been racing together through 3 cars that I've seen. They're in the Lamborghini now. They've done BMWs before that and Porsches before that. So they're well established together. They're looking for a bit of luck. They've not had a massive amount of luck in the past, but from the start of today, we're looking at a good championship for them. 2 wins from 2 attempts. It's looking set for the Barwell Motorsport team this year at this early stage.
Especially considering 3 wins on the bounce last year, the Johnny Adam and Derek Johnson combination had. In fact, the Callum one you're looking at now, that had such a fantastic start to last season, and that really helped them sell off, because they had a couple of meetings where they sort of had not blips but weren't massively scoring highly, but it is about scoring consistently and getting those points across. But as you say, 2 wins from 2, it's a fantastic result for them. Let's start from the start, shall we? It was slightly less chaotic than race 1, but then more chaotic, because it didn't kick off on the formation lap. It actually kicked off at turn 1, so it actually kicked off in the race. And there's several. We've got a Lamborghini. Let's move away. In fact, if I put you over here, but then more chaotic. We've got, because it didn't kick off on the formation. Let's think about this logically. Several GT4 cars going into one. It didn't end well.
No, it didn't. I mean, one very popular pick for a good result in GT4 was the number 111, the University of Bolton Ginetta. Mike Simpson was at the wheel of that car. It was investigated for contact with the number 100, the car that won the first race of the day. And having seen some reviews, they went into...
It didn't.
Oh, my apologies. It didn't win the first race of the day.
Pit stop problems in race 1.
Pit stop problems in race 1, but it was on pole.
Yes.
Okay. went into the back of the McLaren, damaged its front wheel arch, was on the back foot from there, ended up with a bit of synchronised spinning down at the Cascades after sort of 3 or 4 laps. Throughout the GT4 class there was little incidents like that, but GT4 it's a street-based formula. It's a street fight in that class. It always is, and they pulled themselves together. I was quite surprised today in that the GT4 cars weren't that far off the pace of the GT3 cars, especially at the start of the race when the track was a little bit damper. But as you can see from the Parc Fermé area, there's a lot of GT4 cars there, and a lot of GT4 cars carrying little bits of damage. So they did come together here and there. And
2 very broken GT3 cars. Let's also focus on the fact the GT4 fights. So we had the Nissan fighting the Ginetta, the original G55 Ginetta, which was then fighting the Porsche Cayman, which was then fighting. We had the Nissan, the Aston Martin was involved in there a little bit. Only 2 laps from the 62, the Academy Motorsport Aston Martin, though. They've had a poor day. Exclusion from race 1, 2 laps in race 2, pulled up, and that was it. So for them, they struggled quite massively. Also, the Cayman got a bit of a coming together with one of the Nissans, and you said the Ginetta as well. And it was a shame. One of the ones I tipped for a good race. But the big points in GT4, Lanan Racing in the original spec G55 won. What a fantastic story for them. What a great drive, though, from David Pittard and Alex Reid.
Yes, I mean, Lanan came into the championship last year. They didn't have a spectacular year because they picked their car and the manufacturer refused to deliver it through no fault of Lanan's own. So they were on the back foot last year. People weren't expecting much from them this year, but it's a mistake to underestimate Lanan. As you can see from everything else they do, including the Formula 3 Championship, they're a sorted out team. They've got 2 very good drivers in that car, and despite the fact they're running the older car, no ABS on that car, no traction control either, they rose to the top. It was a steady climb to the head of the field, passing cars as and when needed in that battle at the head of the field, which at one point had 5 manufacturers in the top 5, and they've come out on top. What Lanan know how to do is win races, and they've won this one.
They've won it quite significantly and very successfully. Now GT3, big talking points, and there is quite a few of them in GT3. Let's start. Team Parker Racing Bentley, whoever installed the self-destruct button in the garage, it might not be needed tomorrow morning. It wasn't a great race. In fact, I'm afraid fans of the Bentleys, it was poor. It was Seb Morris was not having an on day, let's put it like that.
Yes, Seb, he got a bad start. The car was coughing and spluttering. Let's go round. Use the interviews from let's go round this one.
Yeah, let's go round this.
It was coughing and spluttering at the start of the race.
I don't know where to go. Yeah.
So it was coughing and spluttering at the start of the race. It was a bit down and power. It got jumped by a few cars, including its teammate, the number 7, the Ian Loggy and Callum McLeod.
Yes.
Car. He's remembering names off the top of his head. Had a bit of a coming together with that car down at the Hislop chicane. Put that car off onto the grass. It kept the power in and dragged it back onto the tarmac, but dropped a few spaces. Picked up a drive-through penalty for that one.
Yeah. Then
picked a fight with one of the Ginettas, if I remember rightly.
Think so, yeah.
The looks on Rick Parfitt's face towards the end of Seb's stint
said it all.
There were words to be exchanged at the end of the race, I think, with that car.
Yeah, one person who did see it, in fact, was Jon Barnes in the number 11 TF Sport Aston Martin V12 Vantage. In fact, he does actually mention it in the next interview, so have a look at this. Jon Barnes then was it 3rd place in the end overall in the second round of the British GT Championship for 2017. What a great stint from yourself in that first stint in the second race, though.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange weekend, really. We did some really good testing around here, and then turned up in an FP2 when it was dry. The car felt way out of the window with setup, so we had to change the setup quite a bit for qualifying. And thankfully, in the race there, it seemed to work quite well. So yeah, really surprised coming in P2 after starting P5. I'm sure Johnny was more surprised that he started P11 and ended up right behind me before the pit stop. So no, that was a good stint. Pleased with that one, and then shame we didn't quite get second, but still to come away with a podium was a good effort first round of the championship. So pleased with that.
Of course, you were saying Johnny Adam, what a fantastic battle you two had near in the end of your stint. It's just absolutely mesmerising to watch out there.
Thank you. Yeah, it reminded me of last year actually, because I think race 2 last year, me and Johnny were just nose to tail for 10 laps or something, and it was exactly the same in that race today. So I think today, thankfully, I was a little bit quicker than I was last year. So yeah, good stint, and not always nice to battle with Johnny. He's nice and fair, so it was good.
Of course, Bentley's as well. They had a interesting race, shall we put it? How much of that did you get to sort of see unfold?
Yeah, I was right up their backside when that happened, so I could see down at Britain Chicane that Seb was looking quite racy, and I know he put a move on me last year on the way into Knickerbrook, and I just saw him at the last minute and managed to dive out of the way, and I saw him stick his nose down the inside, and I thought Callum's not going to give it to him that easily, and obviously Callum had to turn in at some point. They touched, and that gifted me, I think, P3 at the time, and then Seb got a penalty, so then I was in P2. So yeah, it was a really interesting race out there. I enjoyed that one.
And of course there's quite a big crash involving the 88, and I believe it was also the other Bentley again. Yes, it was the 7, sorry, my mind went blank then. Let's try this again. So there was quite a big crash involving the 88 and the 7 up at Hilltop. Did you get to see much of that from your teammates' perspective, or?
I saw it on TV obviously, and all I heard, I'd already nipped off to go to the loo at that point, because I'd only just got out of the car sort of a couple of minutes beforehand, and I just heard the guys on the radio saying, slow down Mark, slow down, big crash. So yeah, then when I came back and saw it on TV, that was a big accident, so hopefully both guys are okay after that one.
Yeah, well, it's fair to say that, like you say, the Aston Martin, I've been told by a couple of drivers that it's not like it has a particularly strong track anywhere. It just sort of sits in the middle of being a very sort of diverse car in order to race. Rockingham's the next meeting, a 2-hour race, which will push you and your teammate much more. Are you looking forward to it? Do you think you've got a good chance for a result there?
Yeah, Rockingham's a bit of a funny circuit. Again, this place, Oulton Park, certainly doesn't suit the car. We tend to go much better at places like Silverstone, Spa and high-speed circuits, so Rockingham's another difficult circuit, I think, for us. So we'll go there, and if we can come away with another top 5, then we'll be pleased. So that's what we'll aim for there.
Well, best of luck, thank you very much.
Thank you, cheers.
So Jon Barnes there just saying, yeah, he saw it, he tried desperately to avoid it. He was actually saying Seb Meisters did it last year in terms of manoeuvres, and I suppose trying to put a move on like that is a 50-50 move. You've got to rely a little bit on guy getting it out of the way, but he broke the golden rule of not going into your teammates, so and ended particularly well. Someone I do want to go and have a chat with is, if I can quickly grab Sam, am I right to get a quick word? Oh, he's one off, let's see. See if I can get a quick word. You've got to try, yeah. Just having a look at a couple of passes. So welcome into the Barwell Garage, winning garage from both races today. And number 6 had a interesting second race. In fact, didn't get that far, so we'll have to ask him in just a second. Yeah, so I'm seeing the number 6 car over there. Problems in that second race. All that meant was he couldn't quite get the result he was looking for. We'll just quickly go and ask him about it now. Mind if I get a quick one? Race 2, obviously the sort of car didn't really go the way you wanted it to, did it?
No, engine failed unfortunately, so that was robbed us of a guaranteed podium, so a bit gutted to be honest, but I can take the positives out of today, and we had a good race 1, so it's not the end of the world.
Of course, race 1, I think second place for yourselves, so not a bad way to start off your GT racing career, is it?
No, it's been great, you know, it's been a good day, and even before we had a problem in race 2, we were in a great position, third, and we would have been on the podium again, so we can take lots of positives. We've only got 2 weeks of Rockingham to go and put that right, and I'm looking forward to it.
And I should say the Lamborghini should suit Rockingham relatively well actually, so looking for another result?
Yeah, absolutely. We know now that we can expect regular podiums, so we need to go there in 2 weeks' time and push for the same.
Of course, great result for your teammates as well in the number 33. Barwell have really got it switched on at the moment, haven't they?
Yeah, you know, they produce a great car, and you can see that with the Dima Tweaks car. John and Phil drove really well today, and I'm just a bit sad for Liam, because otherwise we should have been there with him.
Well, yeah, sadly race 2 didn't go the way you wanted it. Race 1 was very good though, and we'll see you in Rockingham in a couple of weeks' time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as you can see, in fact, the number 33 is being brought back in, freshly covered in bits of champagne as well. 2 victories in 2. Can't really do much worse than that. Giggling?
Yeah, I was just talking with the team here. They're obviously quite satisfied with the result that they've had. A very good turnout for this team. Of course, Sam, new to GT racing, definitely new to the Lamborghini after not getting a chance to drive it his first attempt. It caught fire in Dubai. Different team, different car, but same make and model. They've done all right today. Obviously outshone by the other side of the garage, who have won both races.
Yes.
But yeah, they're doing all right.
So, speaking of doing all right, David Pittard behind us. We caught up with him after the race. Did well in race 1, did even better in race 2. Here's what he had to say. Remind us, because I've done this before and I'm going to do this again, where did he finish in the first race?
P5 now, because car ahead of us got a penalty, so P5.
And you started in 3rd?
Yep, P3.
And where did he finish?
He won!
Well done, winner of round 2 in the GT4 category for the 2017 British GT Championship here at Oulton Park, David Pittard. Massively well done. Challenging race out there.
Yeah, it was. It all kicked off at the first corner, in which the factory car damaged its splitter. So there's a bit of a cork in the bottle then, and in those situations, in a big long train of us, I think there was probably 5 of us at one point, when everyone's desperate to get past, there's going to be fireworks at some point, and I kind of just waited for that to happen, and it did. Fortunately, I managed to avoid it all. I gained 2 positions, lost 1, and then the McLaren was so fast in a straight line that I couldn't pass him really. But knowing that he had a pit stop penalty and the car ahead of that, their second driver wasn't as quick as my teammate Alex Reed, I knew that I didn't have to take too many risks and just stay ahead of the McLaren behind me and hand over. Lanan did a great job to bring me in when they did, and from then on the 100 McLaren came out of nowhere, so their pit stop was obviously very fast, and we got promoted to the win, so absolutely over the moon. Lanan have done a great job. Huge thanks to Formula Life, V-Box and Paddock Club Formula 1, otherwise I wouldn't have been here.
So of course the opening portion of the race, 5 cars at one point in that battle for the GT4 lead. That must have been great fun out there.
It was. I mean, Oulton's a very tricky circuit by which it's so narrow, fast and flowing, and it was actually really good. You had obviously the Ginetta at the front, you had 2 570Ss and a Porsche Cayman as well, so it shows that the BOP that obviously SRO have created is very, very good, and each driver was having to play the strengths and weaknesses of each car, and as a result, we just produced a seriously close race. I was having to look ahead and watch my mirrors all at the same time, but with Mike's car being damaged, it was always going to end in fireworks, and I'm just glad I avoided it and brought it home, so I'm happy.
And of course, I'm not sure you saw the Team ABBA Royal Centre Racing car and the Parker Racing Bentley collision. Did you get much of a see of that if you were at that point of the circuit? Or
no, I was actually in the pits at that point, so I only saw what was on the telly. Only by the replays I can see that the Mercedes went off and then there was contact. I have no idea, so I can't quote that one.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Congratulations, round 2 winners. Some good points for you there, and we'll see you at Rockingham.
Yes, can't wait.
David Pittard, winner in GT4. We did mention him earlier, the Lanan racing car, spectacularly well. Was a great little one. Let's see if we can get a word with Ciaran Haggerty as well. Obviously, quick chat. Do you mind if we get a quick chat? How did today go then? I say hesitantly.
Yeah. Sometimes it looked like it was going quite well, then other times it was kind of an up and down day. But no, the pace has been great. The pace is there. We just need everything to come together now. Obviously, leading at the end there and then getting the penalty was just really gutting for us. But we'll come back stronger. Definitely at Rockingham.
So race 1, what was it? The wheel gun had stopped, or?
So cross threaded. Wheel nut, so wasn't ideal. That kind of set us back quite a bit, and then we kind of had to just forget about that race, focus on the second one, and then obviously the contact at the first corner kind of ruined my chances, but tried to come back through the field. Pitted, Sandy got in, we were in the lead, thought it was looking good, then all of a sudden we got the penalty, which was really quite gutting for us.
Of course, Rockingham, in a couple of weeks' time. McLaren looking like it can do quite well around there. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, absolutely. Rockingham, the pre-season test in there went really well. We're quite happy with where the car is around there. So yeah, just looking forward to that now, and hopefully have a good one there.
Well, fingers crossed it goes a bit better for you there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So the number 100. Thank you, Ciaran. In fact, the number 100, McLaren 570S, another one of the teams who just not had a great day at the office. And you can see right now, even not 20 minutes after the last race, everyone's just taking down. Interesting weekend also for the AF Corsa Ferraris. Let's talk about race 2 for them, because they had a stunning driver in Matt Griffin in the car.
Matt Griffin in a Ferrari, it's never going to be disappointing, is it? He knows how to make a Ferrari go well, and it's nice to have the Ferrari 488 back in the championship for only the second time since the car was launched last year. It had some very good battles. I only caught snatches of it on the coverage, but whenever I saw it, it was blasting past. It was treating Ginetta GT3 cars like Ginetta GT4 cars as it was passing them down on Lakeside. It is nice to see the car back. To see the car has made the switch over from the Blancpain Championship, and we should have that vehicle for the full season. I look forward to seeing more from Matt in the future.
Yeah, it was a great drive. Obviously you can see the Team ABBA with Roll Centre Racing car, or bits of the Team ABBA with Roll Centre Racing car, with that quite hefty collision late on in race 2, which wasn't nice to see. Luckily I think both drivers got out. As you said, big hit from the number 7, a collision between the number 7 and the number 88. We can't really speculate as to what's gone on so far. We've not seen all the angles, we don't have all the information with us, so we can't really speculate what's happened, but it just shows that even at speeds like that and how tight it can be, little mistakes can be quite punishing.
Yeah, it's a tight, narrow, very, very, very fast champion circuit here at Oulton Park, and with two big GT cars, and the Mercedes and the Bentley, they are two of the biggest cars. They sometimes struggle to fit through gaps. What I really feel for the Team ABBA with Roll Centre Racing guys is that they've had two big races in the past 2 weeks and two big disappointments. They were looking to defend their class, their overall win at the 24 Hours. Car let them down, and they were looking for a good start here, having sacrificed the start of their season here to do the 24. They were hoping to get the car home, pick up some points, and a racing incident from my view at the top of the hill. There's substantial damage to the car. You could see from the pieces that came back, it really wasn't what we wanted to see, but both drivers got out the car under their own power. The cars have done their job to protect the drivers, and we should see those cars back very healthy for Rockingham in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it's as you say, it's never good to see incidents like this, but race 2, it's just so difficult to know really where to go and talk, because we've seen so much in one race, and we'll summarise the race meeting in a little bit, but we just, as you'll see, we've spoken to so many people who've had so many things to say over the course of the day. It's just been quite interesting to see. It's a nice back to school feeling really now, isn't it? Everyone's sort of come back, we've all been excited, now we've got back to the serious racing of business, and once again everything feels tense and angsty, and you just get that little bit of excitement, at least I do.
Yeah, the promise of a new season and new mountains to be conquered is a feeling you get in the paddock here at Oulton Park today. Obviously tempered slightly by the incidents that we've seen, but there's a lot of hope for the future. There's teams with new cars, new teams, all looking to capitalise on what they've managed to achieve here today, and I'm excited for the rest of the season.
For example, like Johnny Adams, we can see now. The man who's won, I believe, is it 3 or is it 2 British GT championships?
I believe he's won 3 championships, 2 with Beach Dean. No, he's won 2 because Andrew Howard won 1 on his own because Johnny had to go away on Aston Martin racing duties, if I remember rightly. So he's going for his 3rd championship now, his 2nd with the TF Sport team in the somewhat venerable Aston Martin. It's one of the older cars on the grid now, but he is one of the most capable GT drivers I know. He can jump into anything, usually with a set of wings on the front of it, and he can make it sing, let alone go quickly. So him and Derek Johnson in that car, coming off the back of a championship win last year, they're going to be a combination to beat this year.
And yeah, as you say, they're absolutely stunning. Of course, we heard from Jon Barnes earlier. He said just how well he drove, and it was quite interesting watching him and Phil Keane talking down by the podium. I won't repeat what they said because not broadcastable, but I didn't say that. But yeah, it was a fantastic battle. They were really enjoying it. You can see they were just enjoying being back racing, and at the end of the day, that's what these guys are here for. Whether you're a pro driver, an Am driver, or just a spectator, you just want to watch racing. We'll see if we can go and get a quick chat with him as well in a second. No, it was an interesting old session, I believe. So, see if we can get a quick chat anyway. Let's go and have a quick wander over. Yes, I think we do need to intro another interview. The trouble is, I'm trying to remember who else we've spoken to right now. So, I know Leicester. Edit. So 2 wins from 2 today, not too bad for yourself, is it?
Well, very pleased. I mean, to be honest with you, 2 wins, it doesn't happen very often in British GT with the penalty. So, yeah, no, very happy. But 20 seconds going into Rockingham, you know, but hey, I'd say 2 wins. If you said 2 wins before the meeting, I'll take it all every day.
Of course, the start was quite interesting how Phil Keane managed to just get ahead of the Bentley going into turn 1. Good start by him, really good stint from Phil.
Very, very good. You know, the Bentleys have made 2 very poor starts, considering that the power, the traction, you know, the straight line speed that these have got. That was a bit of a surprise, but you know, it does. You know, watching the first half of that race, I mean, it looks like the Bentley just pressed the self-destruct button today. Very surprised.
Yeah, it was a great win, great race by yourself and Phil Keane. Of course, you say 20 seconds success penalty in the pit lane for Rockingham. It is a 2-hour race, so do you think that might help ever so slightly, or?
Well, you never know. Look, you know, you never say never. I mean, I didn't think we'd win 2 races at Snetterton last year on the bounce, but we did. So, you know, if we can get a podium, look, we're in a great position. But that's another race in 2 weeks' time.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one. Thank you very much. We'll see you then.
Thank you. Cheers.
So yeah, race 2. In conclusion then, we've had 2 races, much like last year. We've had at least one stopped prematurely because of an incident, which, again, for the safety of the sport, you know, this is what's got to be done. GT4, looking really competitive. When Plowman's on it, when the Nissan's on it, when Porsche are on it, anyone can do anything. GT3, it's just going to be close, isn't it? I'll pass you the mic now, because you know you've been following the series a little bit longer than I have. I think your predictions are worth more than mine today, because one set of mine won both races, another set of mine had a self-destruct meeting. I seem to have jinxed half the drivers I've spoken to, so just you speak and then it's your problem.
Thank you for passing that puck to me. Right, so for the season ahead, then it's going to get tighter at the top. The Lamborghini, whilst it's very strong around here, it's got good balance, it's got good power, and it's got a pair of exceptional drivers in the car. I think that as we move on to other circuits which perhaps suit the slightly older car more, the likes of Johnny Adam and Derek Johnson in the TF Sport car, they're going to start bringing the fight to Barwell. And for the past 4-5 years on the trot, it's gone down to the final race of the season, and it's come with drama. It's going to be a hard one to call on that front, but I think from what we've seen today, an early bet would be fairly safe with the number 33 Lamborghini. In the GT4 class, it could be anybody's. I mean, we've got more Ginettas than anything else, but even with the updates, the Ginetta isn't a young car. The next most numerous car in the class is the McLaren, the 570S GT4. That was developed in this championship last year. It's now been rolled out to customers. It's racing around the world, but we've got a substantial number of these vehicles in this championship this year. If I was to pick a winner in that class, I'll be honest, my heart says I want the Porsche to win. Really? The one on its own, I think it's just a beautiful car, beautifully prepared and beautifully presented. My head, it's going to have to go towards the McLaren and probably the Garage 59 cars. Basically a factory team. You've got the choice of the experience from last year with your drivers, or the new and up and coming talents, including the the new trend in motorsport. The single-seater drivers are making the switch to GT4 and GT3 to build their careers. So for the end of the season this year, I'll be putting my money either on the 100 or the 59 in that class. It's ask me after Rockingham, I might give you something a bit more concrete.
Well, thank you very much, Nick, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon. It'll be Rockingham for a couple of weeks' time. So from Nick Smith from the Image team and 956, and myself, Dan Marr, that's my list, and from myself, Dan Marr, until next time, it's goodbye from me.
Hi, I'm Callan O'Keefe, and this is Motorsport Radio.
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.
Hi there, I'm Seb Morris. Just want to wish Billy Monger a really big get well soon. Massive crash, no fault of his own, and I really hope he makes a swift recovery and back on the grid later this year.
Hi Billy, it's Enaam here. I just want to say I really hope you get better. You know, I've raced you my whole life since I was 8 years old, and I know how much of a good driver you are, and you know, you've been a really good friend of mine for these last few years, and I really do hope you get better. It was really tragic about yesterday's crash, so hope to see you on the track soon, matey. Get better.
Think of you, Billy. Really hope you get well soon. I hope to see you on track.
Yeah, thanks guys, and so far no news is good news. That's I suppose what we can and all just hope for, but thank you Seb, James Paul, aka the Pulminator, and to just everybody who's sent their best wishes. We also extend our best wishes and certainly hope that Billy Monger gets well soon, and let's just hope he's good enough to race again, hopefully soon. You are part of Monday Motorsport on the Tuesday on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Thank you very much for listening to this. And just before those get well soon messages, you saw the Brands Hatch Marshals doing a Brands Hatch Hakka. I was told the lyrics to that. I didn't quite catch them. I might post them up later. And it looked like Brands Hatch. Turn 1 of Brands Hatch, it looked like. From, if I know my Brands Hatch. But yeah, it's kind of impressive anyway. Indeed, yeah, that was a video from Facebook, which is doing the rounds at the moment. So, still to come, I have got a Formula 3 review with the checkered flag journalist Connor Jackson. But for now, we think we stumbled on some Formula 3 news about a potential new driver. Later this week, I'll be releasing a couple of behind-the-scenes F3 videos where basically I trundle around the assembly area and put my microphone and camera in drivers' faces, helpfully, as they get ready to race. And anyway, while I was sort of editing tonight's programme, I was reminded that I think we had some breaking news. Anyway, this is like a minute of one of the videos that I'm going to be releasing in full a bit later. Take a look.
Just before the first Formula 3 race of 2017, and we're here in the assembly area. We're about to just go and have a chat to a couple of quick drivers. My name's Lester. Welcome to Motorsport Radio. Let's go and have a quick look, shall we? Well, on pole position for the very first Formula 3 race of 2017, it's Cameron Daz. He's over there, and we'll go and maybe have a quick word with him in just a short while. But I just wanted to have a quick chat with James Raven, who's James Raven, and many people might know of Formula Ford fame and many other things as well. James, what are you doing here?
Just here supporting Cliff and Hillspeed for the weekend. Just come up to watch my good friend Chase in F3 and see what it's all about. And yeah, here to support him really.
Are you going to be in a Formula 3 car soon or this year?
I'm hoping to, but nearly had some form of budget lined up, but it just fell through. So maybe later on in the year, hoping to definitely test one and see what the car's about, and just have some fun in it, really.
There you go, you heard it here first. James Raven in a Formula 3 car coming soon, hopefully, if the budget comes together. So who will he replace? That's the big question. James Raven. Maybe he'll just do some tests, as he said. But certainly, dropping a huge bombshell, if you didn't already know. James Raven, perhaps he'll be teaming up with his last year teammate, with Chase Owen. He was, at the time, standing next to Cliff Dempsey. And, that'll probably be where he ends up, unless there's some huge bombshell. So, F3 News, breaking right here, if you didn't already know. If you did know, then it's old news. Anyway, so James Raven, it'll be great to see him in British Formula 3. I would imagine that would certainly ruffle a few people's feathers. Anyway, back to the racing, and it's more me. End of the race weekend here at Oulton Park, and I'm joined with the checkered flag expert, Formula 3 journalist Connor Jackson. So Connor, we've enjoyed a packed schedule here today, because race 1, due to take place on the Saturday in Formula 3, was pushed to today, basically meaning that everybody felt a little bit kind of frantic at some point, but it was overall kind of a very nice weekend, I would say.
I suppose so. As you say, all 3 events were packed in on the Sunday, so there's not going to be an awful lot of time between the races, especially for the drivers to sort of settle down and calm their heads a lot of the time. But it's good to have all the races run fairly cleanly. I mean, there were some reductions, obviously, because of time constraints. As I'm sure a lot of your listeners know, there's not just F3s, obviously, down here this weekend. There was a lot of support races, and it was good to get them all in. And in the end, I think we all ran on time pretty much to the end, didn't we?
Yeah, as long as you're not a fan of Ginettas as well, I suppose. They got cancelled, unfortunately. But Formula 3, 3 amazing races. Starting off with race 1, and it was Cameron Daz on pole position, but he kind of ruined it for himself in race 1. Sorry, Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron didn't have the best of starts, let's be perfectly honest. He did fall down a few positions, but one man's loss is another man's gain, as it were. Enaam Ahmed took the lead quite early on, and I believe he kept lead for some time. It was a good battle, actually, with him and Sowery at the time, I believe it was. And those two are the two that you kind of expect to be in the championship hunt. So to have them up near the front, to have them fighting at the front end of the grid is perhaps what you want from the weekend. So it was good to have it start off how you want it to finish. Obviously, unfortunately for Sowery, his weekend didn't go so well after that, but it was good for the Lanan guys to prove that they do actually have the pace compared to the Carlin runners, and that they can compete at the front of the grid if they can get the race strategy correct, because it was only the races after that affected Sowery's overall running, but we'll get to that obviously later. In terms of the podium itself, I thought it was a good representation of who's going to be the championship contenders this year. Obviously, with, as I said, Ahmed on the front, Sowery second.
There were no real sort of surprises, really, were there?
No. In fairness, I commented to you earlier that the top 5 for the first race is the top 5 I'd expect roughly in the championship, and we'll see how that goes towards the end of the year. I might be completely wrong, but for the time being, it was a as expected race with as expected results.
Race 2 was unfortunately cut short due to a red flag and lots of incidents. Harry Hayek becoming a victim of a turn 1 melee, which saw him and I think it was Toby Sowery, if memory serves me correct. They two got mingled up together. Race stewards said it was a racing incident, according to Harry, but that, I think, had a knock-on effect with other drivers who I didn't see it myself, but there was a number of casualties on race 1, causing a red flag, and Jamie Chadwick was one of probably the most fortunate person of those first turn casualties from race 2, because she was able to take the restart of race 2. So race 2.2, Jamie Chadwick, and she actually did pretty well considering first turn everything that she'd sort of gone through this weekend. But overall, it was another win from Enaam Ahmed, and brilliant. Race 2, by the way, if you're not too sure on how Formula 3 works, it's a reverse grid race, and Enaam Ahmed wasn't expected to romp away with the win. He wasn't expected to win it, really, but with the 4-lap restart in race 2.2, he did. He won it, and all fantastic credit to him, and a magnificent achievement.
Of course, as when I was talking to Enaam earlier, he called it the race of his life. He said he'd never had so much fun, and he really thought it was a masterful show. And in fairness, I completely agree. It was a fantastic event to stay out of the trouble of the first corners. Anyone who saw the incident will know Sowery and Hayek basically got together in the first corner. Sowery was on the inside. Whether you want to say Hayek didn't give him enough room, or Sowery pushed him wide, is obviously up to you. It was a racing incident, as you said, with the stewards, but basically the two of them collided, spun Hayek around, and Sowery kind of launched himself over the front of Hayek's frontal wing, which obviously retired them. Further incidents later on, as you said, affected Jamie Chadwick, and Petri Florescu as well was caught up.
Yeah, both of those just going to the medical centre for checkups. They're both perfectly okay, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, both of them obviously started race 3, so obviously no major issues with them. But obviously affected a lot of their races, and also took out a lot of the front runners that we're expecting. On the restart, it was Callum O'Keefe that initially started on the pole position, but unfortunately he sort of semi-stalled his car on the second restart, and that's what allowed Enaam to take the lead into the first corner. Effectively, Enaam led, you could argue, the entirety of the 4-lap race, but he said himself that it was those first corners, staying out of trouble and making sure he kept in touch with the front runners, that was the real important part of the race. And as it turned out, Enaam won by a good couple seconds from the car in front, from the car behind, and it was a fairly comfortable race for a lot of drivers, but also a fairly good race for some of the lower down drivers who managed to get a good result overall. And hopefully it should help them out, but more importantly it'll help Enaam out, because all of his rivals were affected in some way.
And race 3 kind of ended exactly the same if you're Enaam Ahmed, because it was a hat-trick of victories this weekend for him, and brilliant result. I caught up with him on the podium just after spraying his champagne all over me. You made it look easy.
Oh, it wasn't that easy, trust me. I didn't think it was possible to win 3 races, but everyone at Carlin's given me an amazing car this weekend. Trev, Mark, Matt, Luke, Sam, everyone's given me an amazing car, so I can't thank them enough. I put a foot wrong in quali, which is my fault, which is why I ended up 3rd, but anyway, to come back with 3 race wins has been awesome, yeah.
Well, you said earlier today that kind of overtaking around Oulton is easy, which struck me as very confident of you. But in race 3, you put in the fastest lap, stretched the gap by over a second when you did that, and you just was consistently faster than everyone else. And yeah, you're absolutely dominant, basically.
Yeah, it's been also, I couldn't have done it without the car I had, because as you saw, we've got a Carlin 1, 2, 3 on the podium. So yeah, it's been really good. Yeah, overtaking's quite straightforward. Depends on how you look at it. You just got to find the opportunity, I guess. Yeah.
I suppose it's easy to say when you're P1, and yeah, when you've had the fantastic weekend that you have. Championship-wise, it couldn't have gone better for you, could it?
Yeah, couldn't have gone better. Now I just got to carry that momentum to Rockingham. See how it goes. Cheers. Thanks.
Enaam Ahmed celebrating a 3rd win, 3 out of 3 in the first round at Oulton Park. Championship couldn't have got off to a better start.
Oh yes, definitely. And Enaam will be delighted going into next weekend. He's got a massive points lead over his rival. He's got the full 95 points from this weekend, and I believe he took fastest lap even in that final race. So he's clearly proven himself to be not just the man to beat, but the dominant man to beat. And he said himself that people like Daz and Pull and even Sowery will be his main rivals throughout the year. But all of them had various problems throughout the time. Even Pull, who did finish all 3 races and was fairly consistent, himself ran into issues during the running, and was only on the podium for 2 of the events instead of 3. So it'll be interesting to see whether whether Paul or Daz or anyone else can actually challenge Ahmed throughout the year, or whether this is actually the start of Enaam's glory run, as it were. We were excited last year with the very close encounter between Collard and Lice throughout a lot of the season, but there's no reason to suggest why that has to be a close race every single weekend. If Enaam can put in a display as good as this weekend, I have no doubt to suggest that he could take the championship even before the final round.
That's that would certainly be interesting. Incidentally, though, Connor, I did ask James whether he thought maybe Enaam, this was perhaps Enaam's magic track, where he just had everything come together, all the stars aligned for him, and this is what James Pull had to say about that. James Pull is here celebrating and well-earned podium, and describe your weekend. How are you feeling?
Bit up and down, really. It started off really well in race 1, got a podium in second, and then race 3 was a bit more difficult for us. I still managed to get 4th from 7th in the reverse grid, but I struggled a little bit with pace, and it was only a 4-lap race, unfortunately, so didn't get a lot of racing in, but got some really good points, and it's been a strong start.
Talk us through the third race, which seemed to be have fewer incidents, let's say.
Yeah, it was pretty much clean, apart from 1 or 2 crashes. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's been a good race, and it's really clean. Racing's really close, so I'm really excited. It's I really enjoy when when there's close racing and everyone's having fair battles and that sort of thing. So yeah, I couldn't really catch up with Cameron and Enaam. I would have loved to have a battle with them, but unfortunately I just couldn't catch up with them.
Where do you think Enaam's got the speed from? I mean, surely you must have the same sort of data and set up bits, whatever the technical equivalent of that is, but is he just naturally quick around this track? Is this maybe his magic track for this season?
Who knows? We'll see at Rockingham, but yeah, Enaam's a very good driver, and he's got a very good car. So is Cameron. He's a very good driver as well, and he's got a very good car.
Is this
so
maybe his
really, we're
magic
sort
track
of
for this season?
pushing each other along, and
who knows?
He just did better than us in that race, and fair play to him. But you know, it's going to happen to everyone. I'll have my good race, and Cameron will have his good race, and so on. So maybe this is his magic track. We don't know, but yeah, he obviously looked pretty strong today.
Incidentally, I suppose I should ask you, since you're here, what is your most anticipated track that you think I'm going to do really well at that weekend?
Well,
or maybe you're not going to tell me.
It's got to be Spa for sure. It's just, people aren't exaggerating when they say it's the best track in the world. It's just fantastic. It's magical, and we are fast in testing there, so hopefully I can do well, and I'd really love to have a win at Spa.
Well, James Pull finishing on the podium twice this weekend, and there in race number 3, saying some quite interesting things about perhaps it'll be perhaps he might have, or his teammate Cameron might have, a similar sort of weekend at various rounds later in the championship. It could well be that maybe Enaam just did have a very lucky weekend, but it'll certainly be very interesting in that Carling garage throughout the season.
Oh yes, I mean, the three of them get on like a house on fire, and they do have a lot of data to take away from this event, which is what you've got to note, because all three of them had great running, and they were all on pace, so they're all going to go into next weekend at Rockingham with a big advantage. But what you've got to note is, obviously, Ahmed's had an entire season to get used to this car. Pull and Daz obviously both did the Winter Series, as many people remember, but even so, that was at a very foggy weekend down at Snetterton, where there was only 3 races that were run overall. So it's not as if the three of them, the two of them, have any major experience with the car. And for them, this was their first proper weekend in the wet and in obviously the dry in the final race. And in fairness, you look at Daz's pace in the final race; he was keeping up with Enaam for the majority of the time. And assuming this is just a learning weekend for Daz, there's no reason to suggest why he can't be someone who could keep up with Enaam. Enaam's had a very good race and a very good weekend, and he'll want to build on this, but he knows that his teammates are going to work off his data, they're going to work off his different mindset, and if they can play it against him maybe later in the year, because they may all be buddy-buddy now, but if Enaam's pulling too much of a gap, then I wouldn't be surprised to see the two of them maybe gang up later in the year. That's not saying anything negative or harsh towards any of them, but if one of them can win the championship and beat Enaam, then the other one may help out as a pseudo championship to help out the little guy.
Boom, you heard it here first on Motorsport Radio. That's what Connor Jackson from the Checkered Flag thinks might possibly, perhaps, who knows, happen. But let's hear from Cameron Daz. Let's see what he thinks of the final race of the weekend. Well done, congratulations. You're soaking wet, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, really good. The pace in the dry was definitely there. We knew that from qualifying. I got within, I think, half a second of Enaam, but with the aero push, I just couldn't get just that little extra to make a move on him. So I guess it was a little bit of a learning experience, but I feel really good for Rockingham.
And to talk us through the race from your point of view, how did you feel sort of taking the start, and because it seemed that there was less action, it was less dramatic, this race, it was the longest race of the day.
Yeah, for sure. The pit straight was dry, so everyone had good traction off the line, so I thought maybe it would be a little bit wet on the inside, so maybe I would have an advantage, but it turned out to be completely dry with the sunshine that came out. But yeah, I had a decent start, which was good to see finally this weekend, but yeah, from the rest of the race, it was just putting in as quick of laps as I possibly could. If I wasn't a little bit of clear air, try and catch up to him as much as possible. But
you've set yourself up for a great position in the championship so far, haven't you? I can't. No idea what number of points you're on. I'm not that good with maths, but you've set yourself in for a good launch for a championship bid.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it could have been a little bit better, but we did get solid points, so we're definitely not at the back of the grid by any means, and I'm definitely not disappointed with how the weekend went.
We will love to see you again at Rockingham. Cameron, well done, congratulations this weekend, and more success for you at Rockingham.
Thank you.
Second place, Cameron Daz on the podium at Oulton Park, where it's just lovely and sunny, finally, after being quite dreary, miserable, wet, but that's kind of bank holidays for you. Connor, have you enjoyed this weekend?
Oh, certainly. It's been a fun weekend, I think, all round. We've had a full day of races, I think it's fair to say, and it's been balls to the wall racing, to be honest. Apologies. But yeah, no, in fairness, we've seen some good action on track, especially from the support series. I thoroughly enjoyed the British GT events. There's also one today. I'm sure you guys can see Dan Marr's talk on that later on. But in terms of the F3s, it's definitely been a learning weekend for an awful lot of drivers, and a lot of the rookies will want to come away from this weekend with a lot of data on their back. So going into Rockingham, it's a lot wider track. It's a lot easier to overtake, because what you've got to remember is here at Oulton, it's a very narrow track, and we didn't see a lot of overtaking this weekend, and that might just be down to the way the track layout is. So if we can all reconvene in Rockingham with more data, better knowledge of the car, then I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the midfield guys perhaps taking the challenge to the front runners a bit more seriously as they start to get a feel to the car and sort of know where they are in the weekend.
What about standout newcomers for you? I mean, we've had traditionally at the start of any Formula 3 season, it's usually packed full of fresh faces, either from karting or Europe. That's no different in 2017. We had Chase Owen, a graduate from Formula Ford 1600, Cameron Daz, of course, Nick Vorm, that's how it's pronounced, by the way, Vorm, not Worm, and Jamie Chadwick as well, officially rookie in British Formula 3, despite already being a British champion in GT4 in British GT, and others who I've already forgot. It's been a long weekend, so apologies but standout rookies for you this weekend.
Well, to be honest, I think the obvious choice has to be the Carlin guys of obviously Daz and Paul, but if you want a slightly more unexpected answer, then I've been very impressed this weekend with Harry Hayek. He was strong in the first race, and we didn't see too much of him, and it was a very lonely run, but he did run up to 6th overall. He beat a number of quite expectant drivers. I don't know whether you want to call someone like Ciaran O'Keefe a rookie, but he definitely performed well against him and the other Douglas Motorsport drivers. Even in his own Double R team, he was very impressive, and although he was unlucky to get punted out at the first corner of race 2, did prove that he at least had the pace in race 3, scoring some more consistent points. So I'm happy with how Hikes progressed throughout this weekend, and I think he could definitely be someone who could interrupt the front-running drivers throughout the course of the season, and maybe get a few lucky podiums throughout his time here. But in terms of actual drivers, then yes, I think we've all got to say Daz and Paul made the biggest impact out of anyone here.
Well, that is it. That's the official verdict from Conor Jackson. I, of course, am remaining totally neutral because I've got to return to this paddock, and I don't want to upset you, anybody basically, which I'm very, very capable of doing on my own without the help of Conor. But yes, that's basically our Formula 3 roundup from round 1 of the 2017 BRDC British F3 Championship. Thank you very much for listening to this, and it's back to me in studio.
Indeed, yes, thanks, me. So Conor Jackson there from the Checkered Flag, journalist there, reviewing what he thought of this first round of the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship at Oulton Park. Do you agree with him? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with anything? Do you have any thoughts at all on what happened? Do you even care about Formula 3? Well, if not, you should do, because it's great. You can get in touch with us on the little comments box. You know how to do it anyway. We're on Twitter at msportradio as well, and on Facebook. Add us on there if you're not already following and liking us on there. It's facebook.com/Motorsport Radio. This is Monday Motorsport for 1 week only on a Tuesday. My name is Lester. This is Motorsport Radio, and we are we've pretty much packed out a full show just of British GT and F3. But that is not all, because we've still got tons more of other content to come, which basically means I've got to spend the next 2 days editing a load of all the footage and videos that are collected since Friday, Saturday, and all day Monday as well, from Oulton Park. Edit it all together, including another GT roundup with Nick Smith from race 1, plus Dan Marr's grid walk of both races in British GT, plus there's my behind the scenes stuff of British F3, where I literally go and rudely stick my microphone in front of some drivers' faces with their permission, of course. And you can see all of that later this week on our website, motorsport-radio.com. So the British F3 Championship then, according to my calculations and the British F3 Championship website, which is britishf3.com. It obviously is Enaam Ahmed, who is way out in front in the championship standings with 95 points already after just round 1, taking a total clean sweep at the first race. Then it's James Pull on 71 points in second place. Cameron Daz making it a Carlin top 3 at the moment in third with 63 points. Ben Hingeley just 3 points behind in fourth place for Fortec, and then Ciaran O'Keefe had a brilliant first weekend in F3, even though he probably doesn't think so. I think he thinks he maybe could have won one of the races, and maybe he could have, but it wasn't to be. He got a podium instead, and he's 5th in the championship so far, just a few points behind P3, so all to play for yet. In 6th place, it was pole position man from race 2, from the reverse grid race, Omar Ismail, who did have a fantastic scrap with Ciaran O'Keefe in race number 1. And he I suppose he's done well to get himself into 6th place. Toby Sowery in 7th place in the championship. Nikolai Kiergaard in 8th in the British F3 Championship. Chase Owen, not where he would have wanted to be, in the Hillspeed with Cliff Dempsey Racing team in 9th place, and Harry Hayek rounding out the top 10, having had a DNF in race number 2. Well, what do you think about that? Who might win the British F3 Championship? Do you agree with what Conor Jackson said in that little piece there, that Enaam might just take the championship before the final round this year? Could he do that? I'm not saying anything because it's literally anybody's championship, especially if we see other drivers coming in mid-season, maybe like James Raven. Perhaps if he gets a budget together, other drivers may drop out and other things might happen. Obviously, there'll be, I'm guessing, some sort of technical things going on which prevents certain people from winning. There may be unfortunate incidents. Tons of things to happen, and it's all very exciting. They're next at Rockingham in 2 weeks on the British GT bill, and Snetterton after that, followed by Silverstone. And they go to Spa in, I think, June, July? I don't know. It's way too far down the line for all of that. However, another Formula 3 was in action at the weekend, and it was European F3. Yes, Lando Norris taking his first victory in Euro F3 on his debut. Lando Norris winning from Jake Dennis in race number 1 at Silverstone at the weekend. They were on the World Endurance Championship support bill. It was Max Gunther in third place in race number 1. Race 2 saw Joel Eriksson, the Swede, take the honours, followed by Callum Ilott in second place and Jake Hughes in third. And race number 3, it was Callum's turn for a win. He won brilliantly by nearly 7 seconds from Joel Eriksson, and Lando on the podium again, double podium in his debut Euro F3 weekend championship. Is Joel Eriksson at the top with 55 points. Then it's Callum Ilott in second place, 1 point ahead of countryman Lando Norris. Max Gunther in fourth place, Jake Dennis in fifth place, and Mick Schumacher. A lot of people had him down for at least a podium. Wasn't to be, not this week anyway. Getting off to a bit of a lacklustre start. He's down in 9th place in the championship so far. Lots to play for with so many different drivers. I'll say that. I'll be kind and say that. But anyway. This is Monday Motorsport on a Tuesday for 1 week only. Back next week on a Monday, I hope. Because we've got Cool Fab Racing, which will be streaming live on the Cool Fab Racing Facebook page from Motorsport Media. And also we'll be covering that on Motorsport Radio. And do tune in. It's the second round. And if you're a fan of bikes and BSB especially, that is certainly the place to watch the next generation of BSB and MotoGP stars. It's going to be at Red Lodge. If you're living in that area, come along because it's free and you get to watch some amazing young competitors racing around the Red Lodge kart track on mini bikes, tiny little mini bike things. Not literally like that, but they are very impressive. But just because they're only little people on little bikes, they literally are, and I've seen this up close, they are some of the fiercest competitors whilst having fun at the same time as well. It's no less competitive than you would probably see at any other paddock across the country. Cars, bikes, karting, anything included. These are literally the next generation of superstars. Cool Fab Racing, check that out this weekend. It's all live on Motorsport Radio and more importantly on the Cool Fab Racing Facebook page as well. Also big news as well that was breaking today, in fact. Yes, the Formula 1 team boss of Force India, Sahara Force India, Vijay Mallya, was arrested in London. Yes, he was. He was arrested because the Indian government asked our government to sort of extradite him, and he appeared in court. I believe he was released on bail. But his international passport or visa has sort of been revoked as of last year. He only attended one Formula 1 race, and that was the British Grand Prix last year. He's been keeping his head down since he's been in some financial strife. And today he was arrested. The police confirmed, and I'll keep my eye on that. Anyway, that just about brings us to the end of tonight's programme. Yes, it's Tuesday, the 18th of April, 2017. My name's Lester. Thank you very much for tuning in live. Do share your thoughts, by the way, if you've watched this on demand, on replay. Do you disagree with anything that Nick Smith said, or that Dan Marr said about the weekend in British GT? do check out Dan's other grid walk and pit walk coming out later in the week on motorsport-radio.com. That's certainly going to be an epic thing to watch. Plus my grid walk and behind the scenes snooping around. I have to come up with a better title for it, I suppose, in British Formula 3. And we will certainly look to like I say, extend our very best wishes and sending our full positive vibes and full support and full love to the family and to Billy Monger himself, who was, of course, as you probably already know, involved in a horrific crash at Donington Park in the British Formula 4 race. He smashed into the back of Finn Patrick Pasma, and both were taken to hospital. Patrick Pasma was one of the people who was unfortunately involved in that incident, and he was described as being okay despite spending the night in hospital. But it's very much Billy Monger who we wait for news on. No news is good news, is what I guess I'm going with, I suppose. But for now, anyway, we'll just end by saying, Billy, get well soon.
Hi there, I'm Seb Morris. Just want to wish Billy Monger a really big get well soon. Massive crash, no fault of his own, and I really hope he makes a swift recovery and back on the grid later this year.
Think of you, Billy. Really hope you get well soon. I hope to see you on track.
Hi Billy, it's Enaam here. I just want to say I really hope you get better. You know, I've raced you my whole life since I was 8 years old, and I know how much of a good driver you are, and you know, you've been a really good friend of mine for these last few years, and I really do hope you get better. It was really tragic about yesterday's crash, so hope to see you on the track soon, matey. Get better soon.
This is Monday Motorsport with Lester Forbes on Motorsport Radio.